Did you ever like just kind of stop and be like, holy shit, like I'm out here working with my sons, I get to be there with them through like their journey through professional wrestling. Did you always know that they were going to get into this world? Like, what is that whole story?
So that's an every time I see them like thing. Like
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, it is amazing. And like if you ask them, it's getting annoying because I literally coach when I'm out there. So it's kind of cool to be able to do that. And they realize that and they know, but sometimes they just kind of want to go through the motions. And I'm literally out there just, they go, Dad, stop for 1 second. Just stop for 1 second. Stop going. But no, it's so much fun. It really was. It was good. It's good. It's, to be able to watch, because Austin was in it first. I knew Austin was going to be the one. Colton, not so much, because Colton has had his life planned out since he was 5 till he was 60. He's that kid. Super smart. Just, he's that one. He's not, me and Austin live like literally second to second. Like we don't care about anything. Like so, because Paula says it all the time. She goes, "Don't get mad at him. He's exactly like you. Like you guys are the exact same."
Oh God.
No, the deal with the boys was they had to graduate college and then they could do whatever they want. Like I'm okay with that. But an education, because I've been doing this so long, and I don't have any regret for this, but I never really had anything to back it up. Right. Like if wrestling was over today, I wouldn't have a clue what to do. So I just wanted to make sure that the boys had a plan other than this, because just because I had a good career doesn't mean that all of a sudden your kids are good, sure. And unfortunately they were good. So that was like, but Austin literally that when he walked up on the stage to get his diploma, he walked from the stage to where we were sitting and said, "Okay, here we go. Now what?"
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I love that though. Like nice to have that. Like I wish I was more like that sometimes. I feel like I'm more like Colton. I'm like that planner and thinking like 10 steps ahead, or at least trying to. I'm like, God, I wish I could just like not overanalyze every little step.
But Colton, and I think that really helps him in how he became so good so fast, is he analyzes everything. Sometimes it's to the point of irritation. Like it's just, sometimes you just got to let things flow, but he analyzes and analyzes and analyzes. And then now I think he's at a point where he kind of will let some stuff go, but he still does that, which is a good thing. Just sometimes we just need to, doing this job, we just need to let things roll and let them fall however they fall.
What are like your guys' I guess like dynamic in roles between like the three of you? I mean, obviously you're out there as like the coach for them and kind of steering the way for them within this business. But what is like the dynamic between the two of them usually?
I think it's really good. I think they're both different. And I've always tried to tell them that at the beginning. Austin is so full of energy and charisma and so over the top that I just, like my thing with Colton is you cannot match that, because then it comes off as phony. Just be you. Just be you, and you two working together, you'll find that rhythm where both of you will become one and be able to do that. It was the same thing. Like I like to compare them to me and Brian, and I only compare that only because I know that dynamic. Me and Brian are totally opposite. I could never talk on the mic like he could. I could never have that kind of charisma like he has, but I have my things. And when we combine those two, they work really good because neither one of us is trying to force feed what we are not good at. Yeah. So we realize what we're good at and we go, okay, I'm good at this, you're good at that. How do we make it all gel? And I think they're really good at doing that. Like they've understood that. Like it's, sometimes you see somebody that's so entertaining and so energetic, and so you just go, well, if I don't do that, then I'm going to get left behind. Yes. And that's not true. What happens is when you try to catch that, you get left behind, because that's not your personality. And now you're trying to do something that's so outside your personality that it comes off fake and it comes off forced. And when that happens, people just instantly check out. And if they do that, it takes forever to catch them back.
Were there hiccups for yourself through your career, somebody that's worked in tags so much through your career that you had to kind of live and learn through that?
I think a little bit, but I've been extremely fortunate. A lot of people will say, hey, you're probably one of the best tag team guys there is.
Yeah.
And that's not true. Like I personally don't think that's true. I personally had great partners that have helped. The only dynamic is I've been the one that kept going. And it's not that they it's not that they didn't want to. They've just had other things in their life to do. I do not. I love what I do. So, but I've had great partners that I've never had to force feed. Even when me and Chuck did the Chuck and Billy thing, that was so out of the spectrum of things to do, but we both had to be on board to do it because of just what I said. If I'm in it and you're not in it, we'll know that. And to do that kind of, to portray the characters that we were portraying at the time, we both have to be on board, because if you're not, people will see through that. And that's the thing. And then when me and Bart started, we were the same. Neither one of us jockeyed for position. And with me and Brian, it was never that way either. So I've been extremely lucky to have partners that I never had to worry about that. But I know that's a thing because I've seen it so many times that you have one guy that's really fun and exciting, but you can be that too. Just be you. Don't try to force feed that.
Yeah. And I think that can be really hard to kind of stay in your own lane. And like, I definitely feel like I try to match people's energies sometimes, whether it's going up or down. So I feel like, it's hard to kind of just stick in your lane sometimes and know if I'm not that high energy person, what is my thing? How can I still let that shine? But I guess that's just a thing that really takes time and practice, right?
It is. And it's just being secure in yourself and not, yes, we do all fight that, because I fight it sometimes too. I fight, am I losing, when I'm still doing what I'm doing, am I losing me? And I just go, no, because people know me. So it's okay. But I know, at this level, I know how to turn it off and how to turn it on and when to do it, because I'm very much into reading people. I'm not a wrestling person. I love to read people, and then I wrestle to what the people want. I don't wrestle to what I want. So, and I feel a lot of that is missing today. We're not wrestling for the people who come and fill our buildings and pay all this money to watch us. We just wrestle for ourselves. Like, how many cool things can I do? But that's not how it is. That's never how it's been for me. I always wrestle for the people.
Do you find, like, obviously things have changed so much, especially in the last couple years in wrestling, of what the style is. And it has changed a little bit, I think, in terms of like what fans want, in terms of like, watching matches that have more spots in them and whatnot. But I think it always comes back to the emotion, and it always comes back to feeling what the crowd feels. How do you teach someone to understand that when they're out there?
That is a great question, and it is extremely hard to do. One thing is, it's hard. You have to have a trust with all talent when you do that. And it's not like, okay, you're the head coach, so I instantly trust you. Or, hey, you've been doing this for 30 something years, I instantly trust you. That's not a thing. It's just not how we're built or how we're programmed to do. So if they would just trust it and understand that we're here to show you that direction and get you over, like, a bunch of wrestling moves is just a bunch of wrestling moves. If I don't have emotion in the people's backing, they'll just forget about it the next match they see, because they're going to see the exact same thing. So that's the hardest thing to teach, is just because when you tell them, okay, how about taking this out? They hear, hey, you don't want me to do my stuff. And I'm like, no, that's not true. It doesn't have to be a 5-star match or WrestleMania match every time you're out there. Like, they'll do that on Dark, and it's nothing against the Dark or Elevation show. Those are our secondary shows, Dynamite and Rampage. Even when you're on Dynamite and Rampage, doesn't mean that you have to unload everything you have in 7 minutes. That's crazy, because now you're just going through stuff. You're just going through the motions, and you're not in it. So if you're not in it, how would you want me to be in it? But then they'll do something like some crazy thing that thinks that the people are in it, but they're just reacting because they can't do that. And it's pretty cool, but it's very unforgettable. So I think just building trust with the talent and getting them to just, hey, trust, just do it this one time. But then they get in there and then they just get again, I have to go through, like I was taught a bunch of wrestling moves, so I have to do them all.
Let me get my shit in.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exactly.